Good morning, this is Kelly Hobart from Alpaca Direct, and we're here on Technique Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about this lovely shawl. It's called the Sorbet Shawl, and it has two different colors in it. Very, very pretty with a nice lace pattern. And it's using bamboo pop. And bamboo pop is a cotton and bamboo blend. And we are out on the road. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're not back at home yet, but we are on our way. We are back in Bend right now, and we had a great visit with our family, and now we're traveling back home with our motorhome. So I'll be very excited to get home tonight. I have also gotten a little bit of a cold, so I'm just working through this today. But this shawl pattern that we have is totally beautiful, and it's through our knit club. It's called the Sorbet Shawl pattern, and it's by Rachel Brockman. And I am knitting a second one. I have mine right here, Jim. I don't know if you can show that.
So Debbie Doctor says hi, and Sherry says hi from Colorado.
Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Sherry. It's nice to talk to all of you. I'm glad that you're having a good time with your shawl patterns, and Debbie, thank you again for sharing your great tips about how to pick up stitches. And we all always like learning new techniques that make our knitting easier and more fun. So learning those little tips from our fellow knitters is grand, and I love that you guys share with each other and help each other, because that's totally fantastic.
Marilyn says hi from West Virginia.
Good morning, Marilyn. It's so nice to have you with us today.
And Helen's in from Southwest Oklahoma.
Hi, Helen. Good morning. It's nice to have you with us.
And Stephanie from Florida. Yep, they're all
Yay.
going in.
Are you guys all in part of the knit club and learning how to make the sorbet shawl? It's a great, I like the pattern by Rachel Brockman because it is kind of a cross between just enough knitting going on, different things going on to keep you interested, but not so much that you can't have it for social knitting. So it's a great project that way. And I love the two different colors that they chose because they were made just for us, and not even that. The colors are very pretty. They're nice summertime colors, and I'm really enjoying knitting this project. It's a rather quick knit, and I thought I would go ahead and talk to you today about some different things. The first thing that I wanted to talk to you about when you're doing the sorbet shawl pattern is making sure that your gauge is nice and loose. Having a loose gauge on a project like this makes the world of difference in your finished project, because you want something that's soft and squishy. Let me show them how soft and squishy it is. If you feel it, it's just, it's really, really nice, not stiff at all, and totally comfortable to wear in the summertime. And bamboo, I don't know if any of you have used bamboo before, but I totally love bamboo. And the reason why that I like bamboo so much is that it gives you kind of a cool feeling to your skin, but it will still keep you warm. And so it's a great summertime fabric that we're creating for you to be able to wear in the summertime when it's hot out. Now, when we went to Reading, it was 105 degrees?
108.
Yes, and today it's going to be 108, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we were in Reading visiting my sister, Shelly, and we had a great time with her. And then we went up on that Northern California coast, which was also beautiful, and the weather was probably the best weather we've seen in quite a while, right, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
It was totally sunny and not windy, which is kind of unusual there because the wind can really be, flying up on the coast. All right, so now that we've talked about our loose gauge, I'll get off that soapbox. I also wanted to go over a couple of other things, and a couple of other things that I was thinking that maybe our begin-to knitters would like is when we're knitting along, and I have to find my yarn that I'm using, we might need to take some of our work out.
Do you want me to go around
and
for you?
It's called, no, I can walk around this way. So if we needed to take some of our work out, all you do is you open up the stitches, and you see that stitch right under here where the working yarn, if you look at the working yarn, it goes right through that stitch. And all you have to do is take your left hand needle and insert that needle into the stitch, and then remove that off the needle. Now I have removed one stitch. Then if you do that again, it looks like I got cat hair or something stuck on here. We have Max with us, our ragdoll kitty cat, and he's very hairy.
3 dogs and a cat in an RV.
Yes, it's Wally World on wheels. Now, see, this one right here is a yarn over, and you know that we do yarn overs front to back over the needle. So if for some reason it was on like that, that would be twisted. But in order to orient it correctly, we take that right hand leg, putting it in the front, and then that yarn over is placed on the needle correctly. Now, you can always take your right hand, your index finger and your thumb, and open the stitch up, and you would just insert your needle stitch going backwards. This is called tinking because tink is knit spelled backwards. A lot of knitters don't know that.
And what are they doing, and why would you use this again?
If you had to go backwards, say you had messed up on your pattern, you actually purled a stitch or what have you, and you needed to fix something. Being able to go backwards is really an important skill to learn when you're knitting. And like I said, just insert that left-hand needle straight into the stitch below. Where the working yarn is coming out is where you need to insert that the tip, and then you just remove it from your right-hand needle. And that's all you do to unknit. So let me go back here. A couple of other things on this pattern that are kind of cool is it has an 8-row repeat, and one second, this row was just knit all the way across. And on this pattern also, I wanted to point out one thing for you, those of you who are knitting it right now. When you're knitting across a row in that 8-row repeat, let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you look on here, row number 2 for the established stripe section, it says with B, knit to end. So every time you're doing a knit row, you're doing it on the wrong-sided row. So I thought for the people who might get confused, what about placing, my stitch marker, that probably wasn't the best place to place it because it swings around to the other side. So maybe you need to place it on a part that doesn't have great big huge yarn overs. But what this stitch marker will identify is the right hand side of your work. Now you guys also know that from listening to me over time, I like to use a pink marker for the beginning of a right-sided row. So if you look at my needle, I'm trying not to take stitches off. This side right here is, when I'm working over here, that would identify a right-sided row. These are all ways to keep you from messing up and having to go tink backwards. So if you don't want to be able to be knitting backwards all the time instead of knitting, you use these little, and it really helps me because I very rarely have to go backwards. I mean, most times probably some of the biggest mistakes I make is when I'm yakking away with my friends and not paying attention to what I'm doing. But for the most part, when I'm knitting, I'm going forward. I'm not going back. And it's because I use the pink marker to identify a right-sided row. I stop at the end of a repeat so that I'm always, when I go back to it, starting at number 1 when I go back to it. And I like to use that safety pin for a right-sided row. And also on these patterns, it has an increase row where you do a 4-stitch increase, and you would be increasing after the stitch marker, and then you would be knitting a repeat as well. So what I like to do on those rows, and the reason why I'm talking about it, is if you know that you're increasing 4 stitches using yarn overs, I would complete that round, or as I'm going along, I would tell myself, did I get that yarn over before I continue knitting, because we're going to get up to 300 or 400 stitches on here, and it's a lot of stitches to have to go backwards, to knit backwards, to tink, and we don't want to do that if we don't have to, because we want to be able to go forward, right? So count those yarn overs, and it'll keep you from having to go backwards. I know when Renee said that she did hers, she did a knit front and back to correct the problem. And instead of doing a knit front and back, just count the yarn overs, and then you won't get to that in that position in the first place, and it'll make your life so much easier.
Hey, Cal.
Yes.
Why don't you slow down a little bit? There's a bit of a connection issue because, we're at the RV park.
Oh, darn.
So it's okay. It reconnected, but just to let everyone know, it's
If I
back.
lost you, I'm sorry about that. We will be back in our normal location in Hayden next week, and so we'll be able to have the connection that we need, and it'll be much nicer.
Well, they were also wondering what the prize is this week. Remember?
Yes, that's right. I was just getting there. So the prize for this week is, you know how we have those nice little packages of these beautiful little stitch markers right here in small sizes and large sizes. I was thinking that someone would like a package of the small and a package of large. And let me tell you what, I love these stitch markers so much. They're magnetic, and it's kind of cool because a lot of times I work sitting right next to my computer, right, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
And then I will take my stitch marker if I just want it to stay there for a second, and I fling it at the computer and it sticks. It's kind of cool, and that way Max won't drag it off and throw it on the floor.
There's some magnet inside your computer, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a magnet inside of the computer. It's kind of cool. And a lot of times I store a darning needle right there too, because then I used to put my yarn in. And then Renee showed us not this trick where I folded the sock in, but make a yarn cozy so that you can keep your yarn contained and well-mannered while you're trying to knit, so it doesn't unravel all over the place and make a great big huge mess. We also carry yarn cozies in our store, but if you're like me and you're traveling on the road and you just need something that'll work while you're, in for the short term, then these little methods work great.
They want to know how they can.
So, if you want to be in the contest, you have to enter comments in the comment section and let us know maybe what you're working on. And if you're working on a really cool pattern, don't forget to give us the name and maybe the name of the designer that actually made the pattern, or maybe where we can find it, because we like learning from you too. There's some really, really talented knitters that watch our Tuesday show. We are very grateful to have all of you out there, and I learn from you, so it's fantastic. And our knitters who are just learning, it's invaluable to get that wisdom from people who have been knitting for a very long time and who are kind of smart, so that is awesome. I love learning tricks from people who are totally on key, so that is fantastic. Now, what have I not? Oh, the prizes I told you for this week were the small and large stitch markers. So that's like 80 stitch markers in these wonderful little magnetic markers that are very lightweight and brightly colored. And I have totally quit using my bands that I used to get from Sally's Beauty Supply, because these stitch markers are, I don't know, I really like them. I think they slide across the needle better, right, Jim? They don't get stuck and go underneath the stitches like the bands do. Although I love the bands because they come in a package of 500, and if they go flinging on the floor, you can just vacuum them up. It doesn't matter because you haven't lost anything.
Also, Max eats them, which isn't good.
Max does eat them. Yes, that's not good. So now last week's winner was for the Chalgu Red Lace Fixed Needles, and our winner was Valerie Downs. Valerie, you won! Yay! You get to try out our Chalgu needles. I don't know why I've been in such a kick. See, I have my Chalgu needles on this project I'm actually knitting, and I have been, I don't know, I've been knitting with just Chalgu lately. I'm not sure why. I don't know. They're good needles, I guess. That's why. And they don't have memory, which means the cords don't twirl up and make a mess, and you can't. Some of the circular needles, the cords twist around and around, and you can't get them to untwist. They kind of, I don't know. You're continuously fighting them, trying to get them to relax and stay straight. And so the Chalgu needles don't do that. And that's one of the great reasons that I love them.
There's some more questions about the knit club, because they want to know about the pattern, but it's only for the knit club members.
Oh yeah, well, yes, this Sorbet Shawl is for our knit club, but the good thing about it is you can join up. You can join. and you can be part of the knit club. And you know what? It's really neat being able to have a community where the knitters are doing a project together. So if you don't have a local yarn store and you don't have a group that you can knit with, you can actually knit with us online. So I'm doing my project, and I know that Tara's doing hers, and Debbie Doctor's doing hers, and a bunch of other ladies are working on their projects, and they look totally beautiful. And so you can have the fun of knitting in a group from your very own home. It's really fantastic. And these knitters are, well, you couldn't find a nicer group of ladies, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. They just inspire each other, and they are totally full of wisdom. They're smart knitters and fantastic knitters. And so there's absolutely no reason why. I mean, I just love the group. I think they're a wonderful group of ladies. So thank you, all of you ladies out there that are inspiring me and inspiring other people to learn. And I don't know, I just think that when I was first learning to knit, if I had that source and a support system, I would have even upped my skills more quickly, because I didn't know what I didn't know. But being part of this group helps you learn little tricks that you might not have thought of, it makes life so much easier, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. Learning all the little tricks is totally fantastic, whether it's in knitting or doing cooking or whatever it is that you're doing. Learning the tips are really crucial.
And you did the videos too for the knit group. You did your own videos.
Yes, and I did several videos trying to make sure that I go through every part of this pattern to make sure that anything that might have been a sticking point or a concern for someone to learn how to do, I wanted to be able to share that and talk about it with them. And then when I get to the lace section, I'll be going over some ideas about things that I do to make my project even more flowing, easy to do, more fun, nicer, and so that's what I'm trying to do. I just want it to be a great experience for everyone, including beginning knitters who may not have all the skills that we have, because we've practiced for quite a long time now. So anyway, but the Knit Club is a great resource for people, and it can be found on alpacadirect.com, right, Jim?
Yeah, Kathleen's posting a link.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Kathleen. Oh yes, I have missed my staff members so much while I've been gone. They are like family to me, and they are wonderful, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who has pitched in and pulled together. Everything went wonderfully while we were gone, and everything was taken care of, so thank you, everyone.
They shipped out all the knit kits too.
That was awesome. Yes. So next week I'm going to be talking about possibly felted slippers. The pattern that I kind of found for next week is many pieces, and you know how I don't like doing a whole bunch of pieces, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that, but I kind of like the idea of doing a smaller project, and I don't know, I think felting is kind of a cool thing. So I may do that, or I might change it into something else. In summary about what we're talking about today, sharing is great fun, and it's so inspirational to all of us. When we're knitting a project and someone says how beautiful it is, or good job, or that's great work, or you know, it encourages us to try harder and learn more, and it just makes us better human beings, I think, all around, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. So anyways, it's fantastic, and people who knit together and share together learn together, so that's kind of cool too.
It's Father's Day next week too, remember?
Yay! Yes, Father's Day's coming up. Oh my goodness, my son Brandon, him and his wife just had a baby that's 1 year old, Evie, and she is the light of our life. So I'm so glad that Brandon's a father, because that makes me a grandma. And I'm totally happy about that. So thanks again for all your patience while we are on the road, but this next week we will be back at home. And I look forward to seeing you next week, and hopefully I'll either do a felted slipper or something like that. But you guys have a great week, and you take care.